Hello, welcome to Skye Sweaty Record Review, episode 127? I don't know. It's the only first listen new music review show hosted by a French professor, usually immediately after leaving the YMCA. I'm not able to leave the YMCA, or the YWCA, because I am at my office. There's a thing called the annual review that professors have to do. It's fairly tedious. You have to write about everything you've done over the year and what happened when you did it. It's okay. I mean, being a French professor is like the best job in the universe, so I'll take it, but it's a little tedious. So I've been listening to the new Morrissey album all day. It's a covers album, and it kind of reminded me of that Simpsons episode, So It's Come to This, a Simpsons clip show. Part of me felt like it's come to this, a Morrissey covers album. But I don't think that's really fair. Morrissey's covers since being a singles artist have been great. I mean, Cosmic Dancer by T-Rex, I mean, he makes that song better. Same thing with Moon River that he did. So it's not like he can't do a covers album. And also his status as like this crooner makes it easier to take a sort of, a covers album as opposed to, someone who's just a standard rock band. I wasn't going to review this album though because my feelings about it aren't super positive. I'm ultimately, and stay tuned if you're interested, I'm going to be doing a sort of video essay about one of the songs, Only a Pawn in Their Game. I'll do a quick review of the whole thing, but then I'm going to do a little bit of a video essay sort of saying how I feel listening to this. How can we compare this to other things in musical history, particularly in France, because that's what I know about. So yeah, it's not... The thing is, right, is I love Morrissey. It's hard to even say how much I love Morrissey. The Smiths are one of my 3 or 4 favorite bands. I have a ridiculous collection of their singles posters. I would say that Morrissey has like 2 or 3 albums that are the best albums of the 1990s. I mean, amazing. Just amazing. Up until Maladjusted, I would say every album he released was just great. Masterpiece albums. And most of them were with a guy, Boz Boorer, who is on this album as well. So you still feel some of his impact there. Morrissey in concert, the first time I saw him in 92, not only is it still one of the best concerts I've seen, but it legitimately made me question my sexuality. I realized I wasn't gay, I just loved Morrissey, which I think happens to a lot of people. So when I come to this album, I'm not sitting here with my arms folded like, who is this person? I've listened to Morrissey and paid a lot of attention to what he's doing. Ultimately, this album just left me, as a lot of his stuff has left me over the past, decade, just a little bit cold. I think he's sort of taking on this personality of being this like grumpy old man. I mean, if you love Morrissey, don't watch his interview with Larry King. He just comes across as this like grumpy guy, and he's releasing all this, he's like wearing far-right political party buttons, and he's saying sort of anti-immigrant stuff, which he sort of has in the past, but like he's sort of like laying into this role as like, I'll just tell the truth and I don't really care about people, and I don't know. It's not pleasant. And if his music stayed as good, it'd be easier. But it seems like as he's sort of projecting this sort of I'm an old racist and I don't care attitude, his music is simultaneously taking a dip. I mean, his last couple albums, I just listened to a couple times and put them aside. So with this covers album, it left me cold. It left me cold because often I felt like he was like forcing words in, he wasn't like making the songs his. It just felt like he's just either he was repeating exactly what the original version did too much, or he was doing way too much of just like saying all the words and making sure they all fit. For the most part, it was like a cool jukebox, like playing artists that I didn't know that well or songs I didn't know that well in ways that were interesting. But it's not going to be something I revisit. It's not going to be something I love. Sorry, I'm just looking around for a piece of paper. There you go. See, those are my notes for today's episode. So they fell on the floor. Hey, get what you pay for. It's a free show. And I don't take advertising. And I don't take Patreon. And this will probably be blocked because of copyright stuff. Anyways, doesn't matter. So the thing about this album, right, is if you read a lot of criticism about it, a lot of it focuses on Morrissey's political stance. The Guardian, which is a great magazine, the Manchester Guardian, where he's from, just gives it a 1 out of 5. But it's basically just like, you're getting a 1 out of 5 because you support the far-right parties. it would be like MSNBC giving a Kanye album 1 out of 5. Like, it's a purely political vote. Rolling Stone, I read a little bit of that. It's an okay covers album, which is what it is. But it's really difficult to divide this album from the political context and the political meaning of Morrissey, which is what makes the song Only a Pawn in Their Game the most interesting song on the album. Before I get to my little video essay on that, let me take you back to the 40s in France. That's right. When I say the 40s in France, hopefully you know enough to know that France was occupied by the Germans. They were very viciously defeated by the Germans. Everyone likes to make fun of the French for losing. But don't forget, much of World War I was fought on their soil. So England gets to laugh with their stupid channel and all that water, and America gets to laugh with the whole ocean in between them and Germany. But anyways, France was beaten pretty easily, and they were occupied by the Germans. Now the thing about it is, in France during this time, there were 2 different kinds of resistors. There were the Republicans, meaning people in favor of the Republic, and the partisans. And the partisans were fighting on behalf of communism. Like, they really wanted to destroy Hitler, good, and impose communism, good. And what's amazing is that in the years since, the memory of the resistance is a little bit skewed. Like, the Republicans like to pretend that Charles de Gaulle and all the people who were fighting on behalf of the Republic and democracy were totally just running everything. When in reality, by far the most effective soldiers were the partisans, the communist partisans. That was the term. By far, the communists were doing way more. They were putting way more people on the line. They were doing way more sabotage. They were the actual brave heroes of the, frankly, somewhat minor resistance. So when you listen to music from this time, there's an amazing track by someone named Anna Marley. And it's just her and a guitar. And it's a song called The Song of the Partisans. I'm just going to play you a little bit of it here. And you can hear her singing. And all the songs are just, the whole lyrics are just about just somebody alone out there fighting on behalf of his brothers, on behalf of the International Brotherhood, ultimately, trying to fight against the Nazis. Listen to how beautiful, how sparse and beautiful this is. And it goes on like that, a little bit further. It gets a little bit more intense and more exciting, but it's just a guitar and a singer. And it has this immediacy to it. And you feel like maybe you're in a field with a fellow communist trying to take out Nazis, like in some awesome video game, which apparently exists. A student of mine told me that. Why do I tell you this story about Le Chant des Partisans by Anna Marley? Well, I tell you because it was covered by Johnny Hallyday in the 2000s. Johnny Hallyday is the biggest fake-ass, sellout loser in the history of French music. If I have French fans, I'm sorry, but that's what he is. He was a handsome guy who would just steal music, well, not steal music, would take music, buy music from America, do English versions, which a lot of people did, but he became like a symbol of France, of what happened after the war. The glorious 30 glorious years after the war, where France had all this money and everything was so great. And he became a symbol of like fat bourgeoisie. And like the far right in France loves Johnny Hallyday because he reflects back to them the image of what they wish France still was. White, singing songs about Coca-Cola and doing the twist and being totally positive. To even compare him to Elvis is being unfair to Elvis, okay? Because he was like a French copy of Elvis. Anyways, it drives me crazy. And so that's actually crazy enough. In my office here, look at that. Look at that. I actually have a Johnny Hallyday thing here. There's how he was back in the 60s, Johnny Hallyday. My dad bought this when he went to France in 1961 while the French police were drowning Algerians in the Seine. My dad bought this on that same day. Take a French history class. It's interesting. So that's who Johnny Hallyday is. He's this symbol of... He's like if Johnny Rockets, the restaurant, was a musician. That's Johnny Hallyday. So in the 2000s, he covered Le Chant des Partisans. But he made it this bloated, super patriotic, nationalistic song. Have a listen.
Amis, tour du pays, qu'on enchaîne.
Like militaristic drums in the background.
Ohé, partisans, ouvriers, paysans, c'est l'alarme.
And it's all over it's like full of drums and wind chimes.
À la balle ou au couteau, tu évites. Ohé, saboteur.
And bass with no frets. So he took this song and essentially he co-opted it. The same way that the French right wing co-opted the memory of the communists and just said we were the resistance. Johnny Hallyday took the song. Johnny Hallyday, who should be singing the Marseillaise, the French national anthem, all day, every day, instead did that. So I did something interesting on my notes, and I actually read through the comments on YouTube. And I'm going to be translating from French here. I am French. Defend our liberty and our France. You know what that means? It means get the immigrants out. That's what that means when someone says that in a board. Yes, France, get out of your telephone computer. Get off your bench. Freedom. They are afraid. Our grandparents' generation is ashamed of us. They died for our free France. It gets worse. Fort French, patriotic people, brotherhood, people of France, let's go look for freedom and victory against the forces of evil. And then finally, this is the most interesting comment. This comes from Topo Kolos. Liberté pour la France, la nation, la patrie et les Français d'abord. Make France great again. Allez le peuple, ça suffit. I read that one bit that he left in English. Liberty for the French, the nation, and the people. Essentially, Johnny Hallyday has managed to take a great left-wing hymn and turn it into a right-wing song. What the hell does this have to do with Morrissey? I hope you know, okay? If we take Morrissey seriously as a right-wing figure, as he's trying to be, as he's literally going on Larry King and saying, I don't like hip-hop, and we sort of understand what he means by that. And when he talks, that's not how he talks, by the way. And when he goes on and he represents right-wing, anti-Muslim political groups, what does it actually mean when he plays only a pawn in their game? The beautiful Dylan song, which is about the poor white working class who are being manipulated to be actors on behalf of the hatred that existed against African Americans. If you don't know Only a Pawn in Their Game, it's one of the great songs of the 60s, maybe the best Dylan acoustic song. And we'll hear just a second of Dylan's version.
His name, a handle hid out in the dark, the hand set the spark, two eyes took the aim, behind a man's brain.
And so in this song, again, just much like Anna Marley, just simple guitar and singing and his voice singing out. And he explains to you how the person that shot Medgar Evers, the civil rights activist, is just a pawn in the game. So what in the hell is Morrissey doing covering this song? Is he trying to take this song and make it about the virtuousness of, like, what's he doing? Is he trying to make a song about, like, not white power, but like excusing racism because we're just all pawns in the game? Is he trying to like take Dylan and sort of use him as a shield to say, hey, I'm not a racist. Look, I did this great civil rights song. What's he doing? Like why is he taking this song? I can't really figure it out, except unless he's trying to say that he is a pawn in the game, or that the whole question of civil rights itself is just a question of being moved around by greater powers. I think Morrissey might be doing something really amazing here. It might be terrible. It might be a bad thing that he's doing. He might be doing something evil and messed up. Or he might be really trying to make a call to say, hey, I'm a a working class guy from Northern England, and I don't like Muslims. That's what he's saying. That's the fact of Morrissey. He is a working class guy from Northern England who doesn't like Muslims. That's just a fact. And then he releases a song that says racists from working class backgrounds are just pawns in greater people's games. So is that what he's trying to do? I don't know. But much like Johnny Hallyday, he took the song and he gussied it up with too much instrumentation. He does it well, though. We'll have a listen to the Morrissey version, finally. Here's the Morrissey version. Wait, that's not. Okay, here we go.
Dark, a hand set the spark behind a man's brain, but he can't be blamed. He's only a pawn in the game. A South politician preaches to the...
Now, this is definitely the best song on the album. And it's nice because Dylan's singing on the original is astounding. It's wonderful Dylan singing. And Morrissey singing emphasizes how great the melody is on the original. I don't think he makes it worse. The thing is, the Johnny Hallyday version, I mean, it doesn't make the original worse. But it's just this curious thing. Is Morrissey trying to co-opt Dylan? Is he just doing a cover? Is he just trying to troll us into thinking about it? I think he would do all of it. So I would have a listen to Only a Pawn in Their Game by Morrissey. Let me know what you think. Do you think there's any correlation between the memory of the resistance and the memory of the civil rights movement in America? Oh, all right, I have to get back to my annual review. I have to talk about my assessment activities and how they correlate to the rubrics that I created for the student learning outcomes. It's not all books, people. All right, until next time, let me know if you like this video essay. I don't know what the hell this is. I don't think you will like it. Do I like it? I don't know. Anyways, there's the camera.